Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. We also have Commissioner Carolina Mejia and County Manager Mira Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and a whole host of folks from the public. Here comes the Vice Chair, Commissioner Edwards. And we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Mejia.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would also like to start today's meeting with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of our county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis peoples, our sovereign tribal partners. With that, I would contemplate a motion regarding the proposed agenda for today's meeting.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 agenda.
I'll second.
Commissioner Mejia, do you have your microphone on?
There we go. I'll second.
Thank you. Very good. It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The agenda is approved for today's meeting. Is there a motion regarding board meeting minutes from August 17th?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from August 17th, 2021.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Clerk of the Board, I cannot hear you. It would be good if you were microphoned as well. Okay. Now it's time for the opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at our board meetings. We do have some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. When called, please introduce yourself, including the area of the county in which you reside. Address the board, not audience or staff. Silence your cell phones. You will have 4 minutes to speak, and that time may not be donated to any other speaker. The county manager will follow up on an as-needed basis as to specific items. The board will not directly respond to public comment today. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the board for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, discriminatory, or defamatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business, or remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that may come before the board on appeal. Finally, all materials, written materials provided to the county may be considered public record subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 RCW. And with that, we're going to go to the boardroom. I have two names. Once those two folks and anyone else in the boardroom have testified, we'll go one by one through the Zoom. If you do not wish to testify, you can just say no comment, but we'll give everybody the opportunity. John Pettit is first. On deck is Terry Ballard. And those are the two names that I have. Go ahead, Mr. Pettit, you have 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out off of Rich Road. Now, I understand, of course, the state has mandated all people inside public facilities are supposed to be wearing a mask, but I don't notice Commissioner Menz are wearing a mask. So I think we have to all follow the rules if anyone has to follow it. So one of the things which I wanted to bring up today, there's a couple things. There's a quick note on the advisory board with the veterans. And I saw you've received some additional information showing minutes and everything. But I would advise you to actually go on and click on those minutes. You might find out that sometimes they aren't minutes at all. They're just a meeting schedule that never occurred. So, you know, the information you get is only as good as what you check it out to make sure it is what's being implied. And also the interesting part is I know that you'd received the last version you received for what you were presented in your session this morning was, I believe, April of 21. But if you go on to a different spot on the website, you'll see there's a August the 21 date on there, so I thought you might want to have the most up-to-date version of whatever you're getting. I'll let Mr. Ballard fill in on whatever else he wants. Now, the more significant issue that I want to talk about is the thought that you're proposing or planning to pass a vaccine mandate to your employees. I find that to be absolutely wrong. I'm going to start out by doing just a small bit of math for you. I'll help you along on this. If you have 0, and let's say that's the guy that is an employee here and he's not sick, so he has 0 contamination, and he meets 25 other people, how many of those 25 other people are going to get sick from him? The answer is none. 0 times any number is still 0. The concept that you want to mandate people to make health choices it's ludicrous, and it's infringement. And quite honestly, I know that you're here and supposedly going to represent the people of Thurston County. You are representatives of the people. You're not rubber stamps for the county manager or anyone else who brings up something. And apparently this ordinance, you'd never seen the new written ordinance before 4 hours ago. And even some of those things were noted that they weren't as what was thought was going to be. So I think at very least you want to delay the process. But let's talk a little bit about the COVID numbers. How many of your employees, first of all, do you think out of that group that hasn't gotten vaccinated weren't smart enough to determine whether they wanted to be vaccinated or not? Were they like ignorant, stupid people? They didn't know they need to do that? Or did they make a choice that they weren't doing it? Okay, that's the right of choice. Your body, your choice. But let's give you a little bit more of a question. How many of the employees you're talking about here are over 60 years old? Well, Mr. Edwards might be a little over, but just barely. But virtually none of them are going to be over 60. So far, during the very start of this pandemic, based upon data from the health department, the dashboard from August 23rd, 113 deaths occurred. I've just printed this off. Now, out of that 113 deaths that occurred over this whole time, 15 were under the age of 60. 15 out of 300,000 people. You should not be imposing your choices for other people's medical choices. You're not doctors. You don't have education about it. And other than just being a big political ploy, it appears that you are no longer in control or making decisions for the county. Thank you.
Terry Ballard is next, and then we'll call for any other folks who may be in the boardroom.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I pay for a legal person assigned from the prosecutor's office to be here to support my commissioners, but I don't see one on the list. I was wondering if that person was paid by my commissioners and excused from the service that she's supposed to provide out of the prosecutor's office.
She's right there.
Oh, so we have one. That's great. So maybe we won't have another incident like we had with the Medic 1 finagle that happened where it was an illegal put together document. It was an illegal put together on the ballot, on the pamphlet, because the numbers were off. So it was written by the prosecutor's office, but then it was supposed to be counted by the auditor's office, and it didn't even have a public meeting. But anyway, besides that, I'll get into the Veterans Fund. My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran and live in Tanglewild, unincorporated Thurston County. Today, I'm going to hit on the entire fund. It's screwed. It's screwed. Something needs to happen. It changed hands in 2016 from the admin section of Mr. Chavez to the welfare system of our county health department. It's nice that this guy, Mark Moffett, he's kind of updating things. But when he updates things, I wish he would actually update it in real time, because the two that show on 2021, as far as agendas or minutes of the meeting, one looks like this. This is minutes of the meeting, really. Okay, and the funny thing about it is the ones that he updated here, the next meeting is scheduled for April 20th, 2020. April 20th, 2020. I think if he needs to report things. Now, you're bored. You're bored. Today, I will be requesting all the documents for the advisory board. This advisory board should be directly under the commissioners, but it's not. This advisory board is supposed to oversee the fund, which is run by the health department, but it's not. The board reports to the health department that reports to you. This is always the situation since 2016. 2017, they revised the new standard operating procedures, policies and procedures, which has a date of 2019. And if you notice, Mr. Mark Moffett gives you a later version of that all the time. So the version that I'm dealing with is the one that you didn't get was August 2021. Really? I can find it, August, or Mr. Pettit can find August 2021. And there's no appointments for two. Two are outdated as far as their time in service, and the only people available is two people on your board. Really? Are you really working that hard to find from the nationally recognized veterans groups for their representation? And there are thousands of veterans out there. Oh, you're really doing hard. And Mr. Smith, by your own regulation, I guess you don't have to follow them, neither do they, but Mr. Smith has exceeded his, he should have, his last term expired in 11/10/2018 for a 2-year break, and then one more 3-year on the board if selected. Excuse me? So everything that Mr. Smith has been doing since 2018 should be null and void. Thank you.
County manager, is there anybody else in the boardroom?
Anybody from the board? No. No. Let me go to the Zoom. We have quite a few. So
County manager, sorry, just when the county manager calls your name, just indicate if you would like to give testimony or not, and then we'll just tick through them.
So I'm going to call you by the order that I see on the Zoom screen. If you'd like to testify, please unmute yourself, and you have 4 minutes. Katrina Wincoop Simmons.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. My name is Katrina Wincoop Simmons, and I live in the southeast part of Olympia. I'm speaking today in favor of asking people to be vaccinated in order to work in the county. If I come to a county office, I want to be sure that the people I'm going to deal with have as much protection as possible. I'm taking care of my brand new granddaughter, and I don't want to risk having to do county business and possibly transmit a disease back to her because she's too young, like 6.5 weeks old. She's too young to get a vaccination, and it'll be a while. So I'm speaking strongly in favor of encouraging people to be vaccinated and requiring people to be vaccinated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Mr. Michael Oakes.
Hi, this is Michael.
Michelle. Michael?
It's actually Michael. That is my real name, but I'm not a mister. So
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
it's okay. I wanted to speak in favor of requiring vaccines for county employees. I think it's important to protect public health, especially with this variant rising, and protecting the public, protecting those who don't have a choice about having to interact with county employees. I think that that health and welfare are important. I understand that there are some areas where people would refuse to be vaccinated, but if it's an employee of government, I think this is really important. So I want to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Goldstein and Craig Apperson.
Hello, my name is Leslie Goldstein, and I live in Tumwater, right above the old brewery. And I am speaking in favor of the resolution to have all county employees vaccinated, or if I understand it correctly, testing is also part of it. I think county employees are our neighbors, and we depend upon all of us to keep our communities safe, particularly as has been mentioned before, our children who are not able to be vaccinated. We have a 3-year-old grandson who is low weight and very susceptible to infection. My husband, who will speak, has some issues that make him particularly susceptible to getting sick if he were to catch COVID. And I'm also the care provider for my 95-year-old mother, whose immune system is not as robust as it once was. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Craig Apperson. I live in Tumwater. I've lived in Thurston County since 1971. And as the gentleman that started this conversation pointed out, you want to hear from citizens, and I'm one of them. I'm also a retired public servant. As public service employees, it's difficult for me to think about reconciling the notion that you would be putting the public at risk by having contact with them if you are not vaccinated. It seems to me that there is an obligation on the part of public employees to step up to the plate and make sure that they're doing everything they can to ensure the safety, health, and well-being of citizens. I think this is really important, and there are a lot of immunocompromised folks out there. You don't know who they are. People don't wear these badges on their shoulders saying that I'm immunocompromised, stay away from me. It's important that people basically take responsibility for the community and not just themselves. This is thinking in a larger context rather than looking just at your own well-being. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Christine Garst.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Christine Garst. I live in the city of Olympia. Yes, and I'm speaking also in support of a vaccine requirement for county employees. During a global pandemic, our personal health choices end when we come in contact with other people. And it's the other people, especially those who have been mentioned, who are most vulnerable, that I'd be most concerned about. I was recently in New Orleans, and the restaurants there require everyone coming in to show a vaccination card. And I felt very reassured that I was safe there. And I would like to be safe in our own county. Thank you.
Thank you. Kiyoki? You're on mute.
Thank you. My name is Kiyoki Kawanoi. I live south of the Capitol campus, and I am just so happy to hear this cacophony of support for making sure that our county employees are safe and that their interactions with their fellow citizens are safe as well. I applaud the county commissioners for discussing this policy of having an option. This is not the option to either get a vaccination or show proof of a negative test, proof that as a county employee, you are not a threat to the health and safety of our community. I think it's great that, except for, I believe, the first comment from Mr. Petty, all of the public comment has been positive and has been about the necessity for us to think of others and to think of our health in a community sense, and not just whether or not I want to do whatever I want to do. I am so happy that our community is about how can we help other people? How can we think about people other than ourselves? My body, my choice. It's our community, our choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Doris Atkinson, please, sir, please be respectful. Doris Atkinson.
Hi, I just want to say that at this time in our community, 60% of the people have a chronic condition. And by being unvaccinated, you're putting all of those 60% of our population in at some risk by not being vaccinated. And I absolutely support a mandate for county employees, federal and state, to all be vaccinated when dealing with the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Herring.
Thank you. This is Susan Herring, and I live in downtown Olympia, up on the east side. And I am a former state employee as well. And I know what an honor it is to serve the public. And if I'm serving the public, my job is to keep them safe, as well as myself. I understand that some people have serious medical issues for not getting vaccinated. So I like to have the option of the testing. But I think it's really important that we do have all of our public employees as safe as possible for the rest of us. This is a community problem, not an individual problem, and we need to treat it as such. So thank you for doing this mandate for your public employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela Johnson. Pamela Johnson, would like to testify this afternoon? Okay. We're not going to be calling some county employees just in case they want to testify. Frankie Peters.
No comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica and Sid.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, County Commissioners. I want to second what most everybody said today about how important this is to make sure our employees or employers are vaccinated, and especially thinking about more vulnerable populations and how they don't always have access to, keeping themselves in their own house, or if they're incarcerated, how do we protect their health and safety? So I feel like it's very important to think about people's lives and health, and we can do that. And by having people vaccinated and tested regularly, that is a really good, mostly sure way, but one of the best ways we can do.
And I'm Sid Locke from Olympia, and I'm also in favor of vaccinations. The longer that COVID circulates, the more likely it is that more and more variants are going to emerge. And so we need to do everything we can, including vaccinations, to eradicate the virus. And that's going to be important for the safety of all of us. So I'll keep it brief because I know a lot of other people want to talk. So thank you.
Thank you. Kari Nicholas.
Hi, thank you for letting me have the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Carrie Nicholas. I am a data analyst with the Washington Association for Community Health. I'm an epidemiologist. I was trained at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and I'm a volunteer with the Medical Reserve Corps here in Thurston County. I just want to be clear, I'm speaking on my own personal behalf today, not on behalf of any of those organizations. And I want to thank you all for supporting this initiative to have a mandate for vaccines for public servants. I think it is very important for us to remember that public servants have a special charge because the people who are interacting with them do not have a choice. And that is an extremely important decision to make for people who have no other options. I would like to clarify, the first person who spoke mentioned that zero, he did some math. We know from the work with many infectious diseases that there is no such thing as zero risk from an infectious disease, even if you are vaccinated, until that disease is eradicated. Everybody still has a risk. So his math is just wrong. I forgot to mention I live in the east side of Olympia, by the way. And finally, I would like to mention that this is not a unique situation in Washington State. I am a person with epilepsy. That's why I came to testify today. The state of Washington has the right to take away my driver's license if I do not maintain my medication, because I'm a danger to the public if I don't. And even as a private citizen, they have a right to do that. There is no difference in vaccination. We do not have a right to endanger the public because of a medical condition. And they are not making this judgment based on whether or not I'm having a seizure at the time I'm driving. They are basing this on the probability that I may have a seizure. And that's exactly what vaccines are doing. They are basing it on the probability that we may be infectious at some time. That's what this mandate is trying to resolve. And I think it's very important that we pass it and make our community safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Godman.
Yeah, I just very briefly, because I wanted to be in attendance at the meeting for the vote later, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I've got a leadership meeting that starts at 3. But yeah, I support the passage of this mandate.
Just for the record, can you introduce yourself? I mean,
oh yeah, Jeff
formally?
Gedman, Thurston County Treasurer, Lacey resident.
Thank you. Mary Ann Clear, do you want to testify?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Kurt Harding, you want to testify?
No comments at this time.
Yeah. Jennifer Walker, want to testify?
No, thank you.
Okay. Tawny Sharp, you want to testify?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Melissa Denton, would you like to testify?
Yes, very briefly. I just want to mention that I do support this measure. I'm a Thurston County resident. I live on Tumwater Hill, and I feel very strongly that we need to have government workers take special measures. They have special privileges in some ways. They have special duties, and it's not always easy to be a government employee, but there are things that go with that are different than the private sector. And I really believe that the sacred duty to take care of the public and the individuals that they come into contact with in the course of their colleagues and the other people working with them, and the incarcerated folks, people who are really vulnerable and don't have a choice, as some people have said. I think it's very important to either be vaccinated and or to show that you have a clean COVID test. Vaccination is much better because a clean COVID test can always be wrong. And I think it's very dangerous, this illness, and I'm not taking it lightly. And I really appreciate the effort that's being taken to protect us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Capps. Brandon Capps, you'd like to testify?
Sorry, my audio wasn't working. No comments for me.
Okay, thank you. Deborah Padden.
Hello, thank you. Deborah Patton of unincorporated Thurston County. I live out in the northwest General Cooper Point area. I am a public school teacher in the North Thurston district, and we have an even stronger mandate. And I'm in favor of that. And I'm in favor of the proposal that's being put forth by the Thurston County Commission. As mentioned earlier, children who are not yet old enough to be vaccinated are very much at risk. And all those kids in our public schools and in our preschools and in our daycare up to age 12 have no option to be vaccinated. And it's our responsibility to keep them safe, as well as our persons with disabilities and other underlying health conditions. And I heard mention earlier in earlier comments about the veterans and veterans programs. I come from a long list of veterans in my immediate family, including my husband and my mother, and my dad and my uncle and my nephew, a bunch of relatives, and they had a plethora of vaccines that they had to take as public servants defending our country, including anthrax and typhoid fever and smallpox and polio and all kinds of diseases that we no longer even have to vaccinate for because of public health measures in years and decades gone by. And I'm old enough to remember getting the smallpox vaccination and the polio vaccine as a child. And I remember being hospitalized with measles for 4 days. I was so sick when I was a child because there wasn't yet a vaccine. I remember my son getting chickenpox in his eye when he was a child because there was not yet a vaccine for chickenpox. Now that we have vaccines for all these things, we should all get them. And I am perfectly fine as a public school teacher having to show proof of all of these vaccines. And I commend the commissioners for putting forth this mandate for the county employees. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Deborah Perry.
I am also in support of the mandate for vaccines and rigorous testing. I think it's just obviously, just community safety is paramount, and especially for the vulnerable ones, our children and those with immune compromised systems and the elderly. So I thank you for putting this this forward.
Thank you. Just for the record, can you state where you reside in the county?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Olympia, City of Olympia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Allen?
No comment on this topic.
Thank you. Sue Medeiros? Tim Kerfoot?
I'm sorry, I took a minute here.
Okay, go ahead.
I strongly support this that requires county people to be vaccinated. If it's not for you, do it for the children. Please support this issue.
Thank you. I think I'd lost my place here. Let's see. Tim Kerfoot.
Hi. Well, I hadn't planned on saying anything, but I am certainly in support of this measure, and it's an honor that our county commissioners would consider protecting the rest of us. We've gotten vaccines throughout my life. I don't understand why this vaccine is so much different from the other vaccines that I've gotten throughout my life. And it appears that I am the only person representing Yelm. So I'm happy to say that Yelm fully supports this measure that the county is considering. Thank you.
Josh Cummings, you want to provide testimony?
Sure. I'll just say briefly, Joshua Cummings, the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development. I appreciate the opportunity to engage and watch this civil discourse. and the leadership of our elected officials to have this opportunity for dialogue. And thank you to all the citizens who provide their input. Our staff here at Thurston County Community Planning and Economic Development, CPAD, we're on the front lines in our BDC, the Building Development Center, and we continue to appreciate the opportunity to serve the citizens.
Thank you. Dennis Osorio?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Patrick O'Connor?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor, Director of Thurston County Public Defense. I support this resolution. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see. Diana Benson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Diana Benson, and I am the Chief Deputy in the Auditor's Office. Just very briefly also, the best thing that we can do for those people that we serve is making sure that we have healthy staff and it's safe for our employees and it's safe for our community. The Auditor's Office, even though we are more than 70% vaccinated, we definitely support this resolution and appreciate you bringing this for a vote today.
Thank you. Shelley Billings.
Hi there. My name is Shelley Billings. I live in Tumwater. I grew up in Thurston County. I've been here since 1976. I want to express my support for requiring masks or proof of being free of COVID. I want to echo what everybody else has said in support of this measure. But I also wanted to add that opponents of getting either vaccinated or wearing masks I guess that's the issue right now is having a vaccination or proving that you're free from COVID is, personal choice is great up until the public good is considered. And when I hear about people talking about their public choice, they're putting themselves above the public good. And that's just, it blows my mind that people would put their individual self above people who don't have a choice, whether they're going to be around people who are sick, or people who can't take the vaccine. It just seems very, very selfish to me, and it's wrong. And I just support mandating vaccinations for county employees. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Jakua. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name.
That's quite all right. My name is Deborah Jakua. I'm a resident of Thurston County in Olympia's urban growth area. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak today. I won't take long. I am speaking in favor of the resolution to require vaccinations for the county's public employees. I agree with the comments and second the comments offered by Leslie Goldstein, Craig Apperson, Christine Garst, Keoki Kawanoi, Susan Herring, Jessica and Sid, and Carrie Nichols, and Melissa Denton, and Deborah Patton, and Susan Medeiros, and Tim Kerfoot, and others who have stated better than I can in this short time all the very valid reasons for this resolution to go forward, and I urge you to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dawn Potter. Okay, moving on. Christy Peters. Sarah DeStasio.
No comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Buckley.
There we go. Thank you. The comments that we've heard today from members of the public make clear how important this issue is to our community. And I really appreciate the commissioners stepping up and exercising leadership role, which I think is necessary. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Shelley Willis.
I'm in support of the resolution and thank the commissioners for considering all our community safety.
Next, I have Shelley Slaughter. You like to provide testimony, Shelley?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ramiro. Yes, I just want to say thank you so much to the commissioners for considering this resolution today, and for all those here on the screen that have provided testimony in support of vaccines and public health. COVID-19 vaccines are proven to be safe and effective. Here in Thurston County, we're experiencing a record number of cases, more and more deaths every day. COVID-19 vaccine is the best tool we have to end this pandemic. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Stephanie Randolph.
Good afternoon, Stephanie Randolph. I reside in Northeast Olympia in the county. I am also appearing to support this resolution to require vaccines for county employees. It's clear that vaccines are the way to end the pandemic. And we know that most people in Thurston County are getting vaccinated. And I think that requiring this of county employees will encourage them to speak with medical experts if they still don't have that certainty about whether or not to get the vaccine. We know that many people are choosing to get the vaccine. So my hope is that this sort of requirement will encourage more and more people to get the vaccine. And in the future, this will be a kind of not even a question. It'll be so normal for everybody to have this vaccine. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Socorro Villeda.
I have no comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see who, have I missed anybody on the Zoom screen? If I have, please raise your hand and I'll introduce you. I see none. I think we concluded the public testimony, sir.
Thank you, Ramiro. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and zooming in and providing us input. The item that everyone except testified about is toward the end of the agenda. You're welcome to hang on and listen for that if you choose. But next up is the consent agenda. We have county manager's update first, item 2.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. This is a follow-up to the public testimony you received last week from Mr. Pettit and Mr. Ballard related to the meeting minutes on the Veterans Fund, on the Veterans Advisory Board, as well as the makeup of the Veterans Advisory Board. They were correct. Last week, we have an outdated piece of information. We'll continue to improve. And we have updated to the as of late. We continue to improve the overall advisory boards and commissions, and we are finding ways as to how we can streamline the process. It's not just the Veterans Advisory Board who needs to be up to date and provide more streamlined service, but also all the boards and commissions. And the board has already conducted a couple of sessions as to how we can streamline and standardize the boards and commissions. So thank you to Mr. Pettit and Mr. Ballard. I agree we have some gaps that we need to fill, and we'll continue to have that commitment to continue to meet and address those gaps. Thank you.
Any questions from the board regarding the county manager update?
No, sir.
Okay. I would contemplate a motion regarding consent items 3A through 3C.
I would make a motion to approve consent items A through C.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent items 3A through 3C are approved. Let's go to department item 4A under Commissioner's Office, the CPACER ordinance.
Yeah, Commissioner, I will give the floor to Jenica Machado. She will walk you through the details of this particular item. Jenica, are you there? maybe she's there.
Hello.
Got it connected.
Sorry about that. I'm having a little technical difficulties. Yes, thank you, Romero. So for the CPACER ordinance, we have a recommended action to move to rescind the ordinance 16052 and approve an ordinance establishing the commercial property assessed clean energy and resilience in Thurston County. And so the Board of County Commissioners approved CPACER ordinance on July 20th. In the following weeks after approval, edits that did not substantially change the ordinance were included in the document. Specifically, an edit was made in subsection 9 of the ordinance to specify that no Thurston County resources would be spent to collect funds. The revised CPACER ordinance is brought forward for reapproval.
And I know the county treasurer's here, Jeff. The proposed revisions meet with your approval. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm Jeff Gadman, Thurston County Treasurer, and yes.
Okay, that's what we needed to hear. Is there a motion from the board?
Yes, sir. I'd move to rescind ordinance 16052 and approve an ordinance establishing the commercial property assessed clean energy and resilience in Thurston County.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Sir.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, and we got that fixed.
Thank you.
For anyone who's interested in CPACER, there was a much more thorough discussion of it earlier this summer by the board when we passed the original ordinance. This is just kind of a cleanup measure connected to our Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan and implementing the strategies that are there. So let's go to 5A, Community Planning and Economic Development. We've got 3 somewhat related items here under CPED. And the first one is 5A, Subrecipient Agreement for Riparian Restoration, Allen's Chambers Ditch. And Chris Chapeau's here. County Manager, do you want to set this up for us?
Yeah, this is a series of subrecipient agreements that you may consider approving, particularly related to the Thurston Conservation District. And the county received just about a little over $500,000 from the state to do some riparian restoration. So the 3 items you'll hear from Christina really addresses that objective of the grant the county received early this year, I believe. Chris?
Sure, thank you. So the 5A is for a proposed subaward for the restoration along Chambers Ditch. The proposed project is to complete restoration of a 100-foot buffer along 1,300 feet of Chambers Ditch for a total area of 3 acres restored. Historically, the restoration area was managed for hay production and denuded of tree cover and native plants. The project will enhance habitat for coho salmon and cutthroat trout by developing shade to cool the waters of Chambers Ditch, improve fish habitat, filter stormwater, and nutrient runoff. The subrecipient agreement is with Thurston Conservation District for the project period of July 1st, 2021 through August 30th, 2022, in the amount of $52,284.
Questions for Chris on this item, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Chris, for those of us who don't know our ditches as well as we should, is this Deschutes River?
Correct. Chambers Ditch runs from Chambers Lake through Olympia down to Deschutes River.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there a motion on this item 5A?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve a subrecipient agreement with Thurston Conservation District to implement the Allen Chamber Ditch Riparian Restoration Project for the period of July 1st, 2021 through August 30th, 2022, in the amount of $52,284, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion from the board?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 5A is approved. Let's go to 5B, a subrecipient agreement, riparian restoration for the Wasserman Deschutes River.
Yes, this subaward is for restoration along, for a buffer along 1,400 feet of the Deschutes River proper, for a total of about 3.1 acres restored. The project area was also historically managed for hay production and denuded of tree cover and native plants. The current site has salmon spawning zones and is dominated by invasive grasses and noxious weeds. The buffer plantings are intended to help stabilize the bank, reduce erosion and sedimentation, provide shade, and improve overall habitat quality for the aquatic and adjacent wildlife. This subrecipient agreement is also with Thurston Conservation District to implement the project for the project period of July 1st, 2021 through August 30th, 2022 in the amount of $76,505.
Questions on this one?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Chris, is this money, might be worth noting, is this money coming from Department of Ecology through the state, or what's the source of the money?
Sure, the source of the funding is actually through the federal government, EPA, through the Department of Ecology.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion on 5B?
I would move to approve a subrecipient agreement with the Thurston Conservation District to implement the Wasserman-Deschutes River Riparian Restoration Project for the period of July 1st, 2021 through August 30th, 2022 in the amount of $76,505 and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously and 5B is approved. Now we have one more along the same lines, 5C, subrecipient agreement for riparian restoration, Wolt, Morley, McLean Creek.
Yes, this subrecipient award is for restoration along 650 feet of McLean Creek and 290 feet of an unnamed tributary to McLean Creek, along with associated wetlands, for a total of about 3.1 acres area restored. The restoration areas are part of two single-family properties that are looking to enhance their streamside area of their lots for active salmon runs. The area also contains habitat for state endangered western pond turtle. The project will control early infestation of reed canary grass, stabilize the stream bank areas that are contributing to sedimentation, expand existing riparian areas and increase shade, and slow flood waters through the floodplain while enhancing habitat for wildlife. The subrecipient agreement is with Thurston Conservation District to implement the project for the period of July 1st, 2021 through August 30th of 2022 in the amount of $49,964.
Questions on 5C?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, I don't either. So is there a motion?
I'd move to approve a subrecipient agreement with Thurston Conservation District to implement the McLean Creek Riparian Restoration Project for the period of July 1st, 2021 to August 30th, 2022 in the amount of $49,964 and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer.
Aye, that motion carries. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
And we've got those items covered. Let's go to Public Works. 6A, resolution for 2021 Thurston County Solid Waste Management Plan. Karen Weiss is here, our Senior Management Analyst at Public Works.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioners. Karen Weiss, Public Works. Today, the board is being asked to approve a resolution adopting our 2021 Thurston County Solid Waste Management Plan. Washington state law assigns primary responsibility for managing municipal solid waste to local governments and requires us to maintain current solid waste management plans. The purpose of our solid waste management plan is to provide recommended waste management strategies for the period of 2021 through 2026. It also looks forward to ensure we have sufficient processing and disposal options for for the next 20 years or through 2041 to address the needs of our growing community. The proposed plan will guide the actions of the county and all participating cities, which you recently approved interlocal agreements with, and the haulers that provide curbside collection and processing of municipal solid waste and recyclable materials. The proposed plan is the product of an extensive cooperative effort between the county and the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, or SWAC, to provide integrated solid waste and hazardous waste management planning and solid waste programs. This plan also includes a contamination reduction and outreach plan, or known as CROP, which is an action plan to reduce recycling contamination and which meets a new state requirement for inclusion in our solid waste management plan. During 2020, the SWAC, which includes elected officials from the cities in our county and industry and community representatives, including from the Department of Ecology, spent significant time developing this proposed plan. The plan was then submitted to the Department of Ecology for a thorough review period, including review by the Department of Agriculture and the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission, who reviewed specific areas of our plan. Their comments were received and the responses were incorporated into the proposed plan. And we know anecdotally that we received very few comments, and I attribute that to having somebody from DOE help us participate in the development process. During this ecology review period, the plan was open for a 30-day public comment period, and it included 2 virtual open houses. Following the ecologies and the public review period, the SWAC approved the revised, which is the current plan, in January of 2021. And then the staff made presentations to all participating city councils, so Lacey, Olympia, Rainier, Tenino, Tumwater, Yelm, and the town of Bucota. And their agreement and approval of this plan was confirmed through the execution of those interlocal agreements, which the board recently approved. So following today's requested step, which is the board approval via resolution adopting the solid waste management plan, our plan will be sent back to ecology for final approval. And then after finalization, we'll move into the implementation phase to advance the goals and recommendations of the plan. And these strategies include recycling and waste prevention and enhancements to our county solid waste system and facility upgrades. So this is the almost culmination of a very, very long, extensive and thorough process. If there's any questions?
Thank you, Karen. Questions, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. I would just add kind of one step back from what Karen said, is that when I joined the board in 2019, they were getting close to finalizing a draft, and there was dissatisfaction among our partners on the SWAC, which include the municipalities, the port, about certain elements of the plan and certain processes. And so the board took a step back and sort of recalibrated the process a little bit to allow the SWAC to work through the various chapters and update data, I think was one of the issues, and certain elements. So I'm proud that we were able to do that and get everybody to feel really comfortable with it. And I think we have a product now that has gone through a lengthy process, but sometimes it's necessary when you're working with so many jurisdictions and so many different entities to try to get everybody's input. And so that's why it's taken this long, but we're glad to be at the finish line. So with that, I'd contemplate a motion.
I'd move to approve a resolution adopting the 2021 Thurston County Solid Waste Management Plan.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. 6A.
Commissioner,
Yes.
this is Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. I wanted to just, if I could, just take a moment to recognize Karen for her efforts on this, as well as our partnering cities and town and the Port of Olympia and our industry representatives that sat on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. As Karen mentioned and you reiterated as well, it was a lot of work. A lot of dedicated staff and community leaders that participated in this. And Karen led this effort in addition to her full-time job heading up our financial and asset management division. So I'm sorry, Karen, don't mean to embarrass you, but I do think that you need to be recognized for the tremendous effort that you did over the last couple of years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Karen is building an impressive track record of bringing very difficult issues through to the finish line. So we appreciate that.
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Commissioners.
Okay, so we got the vote on that. Then let's look at 6B, another public works item, the PSC facility relocation agreement. Brian Meyer, senior civil engineer, is here. County manager, should I go directly to Brian on this?
Yeah, Brian can cover the item.
Very good.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Brian Meyer, Civil Engineer, Thurston County Public Works. As part of the Yelm Highway Meridian Road Intersection Improvement Project, Thurston County acquired additional right-of-way from a private property owner. One of these properties contained an easement for a Puget Sound Energy power pole that needed to be relocated in order to build this project. The existing pole will be replaced with a new pole in a different location that does not conflict with the planned improvements. Because the pole is located in an easement on private property, not within the county's right-of-way, the relocation of this pole does not fall within the franchise agreement for relocation at PSC's expense. A facility relocation agreement between Thurston County and PSC needs to be executed prior to beginning any PSC utility relocation work. The estimated cost of this pole relocation is $292,006.85, including budgeted contingency, and will include in the project budget through 2022 budget requests. 4 other poles are to be relocated at PSC's expense because each of these poles was within the existing county right-of-way. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a facility relocation agreement with Puget Sound Energy and any amendments due to unforeseen conditions, not for changes in scope, that do not exceed 10%. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions for Brian? Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, I don't. We've went over this several times. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to approve the facility relocation agreement with Puget Sound Energy in the amount of $292,006.85 for completion of the power pole relocation work required for the Yelm Highway Meridian Road Intersection Improvement Project, number 61318, and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the agreement and any agreements due to unforeseen conditions, not for changes in scope, that do not exceed 10%.
I'll second.
It's been moved, seconded. Any further discussion from the board?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mincer.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. We'll go straight to 6C, a contract award for Yelm Highway and Meridian intersection improvements. Brian Meyer, back for this item.
Yeah, thank you again, Commissioners. On June 8th, a total of 4 bids were received to construct the Yelm Highway and Meridian Road intersection improvement project. These bids were received in response to work being advertised. The low responsive bidder was received from Pacific Civil and Infrastructure of Sumner, Washington, with a bid amount of $2,009,138. The project is funded with a $1,300,000 grant from the Federal Highway Administration, with the remaining funds coming from the County Road Fund and the Transportation Impact Fees Fund. The current intersection is a 4-leg intersection with Meridian Road controlled by stop signs. This intersection is congested and experiences the 4th highest number of crashes of all our county intersections. This project will include construction of a roundabout, adding lighting, pedestrian crossings, and stormwater improvements. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a contract for the Yelm Highway and Meridian Road Intersection Improvement Project to Pacific Civil and Infrastructure, and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions, only up to 10% of the original contract. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions on this one for Brian?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then contemplate a motion.
I would move to award the contract for the Yelm Highway and Meridian Road Intersection Improvement Project to Pacific Civil and Infrastructure of Sumner, Washington, in the amount of $2,009,138, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract. $200,913, or an aggregate of $2,210,051.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this motion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to 6D, contract award for the Deschutes Falls Park Walkway and Viewing Platform Project. Kevin Forbes Kashani.
Correct. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Forbes Kashani, Associate Civil Engineer with Thurston County Public Works. On July 29th, 2021, Thurston County Public Works received 6 bids to construct the Deschutes Falls Park Walkway and Viewing Platform Project. The low responsive bid was received from Quig Bros Incorporated at a total cost of $440,634.60. The cost will be covered under the current budget funded from both the Parks Impact Fee and REIT 2 funds for 2021. The purpose of this project is to increase safety and convenience for park visitors, as well as to protect the surrounding environment. The viewing area and trail currently becomes muddy during typical rainfall events and becomes slippery. This is a frequent complaint from park visitors and causes erosion with foot traffic. Foot traffic has also had an adverse impact on off-trail native plants as visitors seek the most advantageous viewpoint of the falls over the steep ravine. The new 1,000 square foot viewing platform will offer a better and safer view for park visitors. The platform will have railing along the front of the platform and other sections that exceed a height of 2 feet above the ground. The trail to the viewing area will be relocated with a new mulch path to reduce the steepness and address the current issues of mud. Thurston County Public Works recommends the Board of County Commissioners move to award the contract for the Deschutes Falls Park Walkway and Viewing Platform Project to Quig Bros Incorporated, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions for up to 10% of the contract for a total of $484,698.06. I'm happy to address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any questions for Kevin? Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir. It is a new number. The 6 cents is new. I don't know if I had to read that in there.
That's just, sorry.
That's
if I may,
okay. I'm just glancing over at the county manager.
I think the way the motion is provided is okay.
Okay. I'm prepared, sir.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I took my kids to the Deschutes Falls Park about a month ago. And lo and behold, I was slipping on the mud near the viewing platform. So I think this will be a great upgrade for a really nice park. And if folks haven't seen it, they should go check it out in one of the far reaches of Thurston County. Ready to hear that motion.
I would move to award the contract for the Deschutes Falls Park Walkway and Viewing Platform Project 51088 to Quig Brothers Incorporated of Aberdeen, Washington, in the amount of $440,634.60. And to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, for up to 10% of the contract, $44,063, or an aggregate of $484,698.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. The motion carries, and that is 6D. Thank you, Keaton.
Thank you.
So 6E and 6F are public works items as well, and they are rights of way vacation in two different areas. 6E is a right of way vacation in the plat of Boston Harbor. We have Craig Sisson, Real Estate Services Manager, to kind of give just a brief overview of what this is about.
Commissioners, Craig Sisson, Real Estate Services Manager for Public Works. On May 25th, 2021, a virtual public hearing was held on the vacation of a 20-foot segment of right-of-way on 76th Avenue Northeast in Olympia, platted 7th Avenue North. This unopened right-of-way was dedicated to Thurston County by plat of Boston Harbor, recorded under Auditor's File Number 38315 on October 24th, 1907. The hearing examiner considered the mandated criteria and determined that 1, the right-of-way was never opened or used for public travel. 2, it is not necessary to maintain the full width of the right-of-way for public use as the adjacent properties have access from surrounding roads. And 3, the public will benefit by this vacation as the county will be relieved of liability for the area. The county will receive compensation for the right-of-way based on current appraised value, and the value of the petitioner's property will increase with the additional size. This recommendation is made subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall field locate the water and sewer lines and shall confirm that the vacation will not encroach into the required 10-foot clearance on either side. 2, the applicant shall provide a perpetual easement for 5 feet beyond each side of the tank to Thurston County for step tank using a form approved by Public Works Water Resources Division. 3, the applicant shall relocate the water meter to the new right-of-way line under the supervision of Public Works Water Resources Division. And 4, the applicant shall pay compensation as set forth in Thurston County Code 1336030. This road vacation is in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust, well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community.
Questions for Craig, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner
No,
Edwards? Okay, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve a resolution vacating a right-of-way in the plat of Boston Harbor, subject to conditions as outlined in the hearings examiner's recommendation.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote. Oh, Commissioner Edwards, do you have something?
Nope, I do not, sir.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. The motion carries. We have a similar item then, 6F, rights of way vacation of portions in the plat of Railroad Addition to Rochester and James replat. Kind of a mouthful there.
Thank you, Commissioners. On May 11th, 2021, a virtual public hearing was held on the vacation of various portions of rights of way along Highway 12 in Rochester. These unopened rights of way were dedicated to Thurston County by the plats of Railroad Addition to Rochester, recorded under Auditor's File Number 2060 on June 22nd, 1891, and James replat, recorded under Auditor's File Number 50743 on February 20th, 1911. The hearing examiner considered the mandated criteria and determined that 1, the rights of way were never opened or used for public travel. 2, it is not necessary to maintain the right of way for public use as the adjacent properties have access from surrounding roads. And 3, the public will benefit by this vacation as the county will be relieved of liability for the area, and for the Class B roads, the county will receive compensation for the rights of way based on current appraised value. Additionally, the value of the petitioner's property will increase with the increased parcel size. This recommendation is made subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant will pay compensation as set forth in Thurston County Code 1336030. 2, the applicant must provide applicant DeGee's family partnership, their heirs and assigns, an easement over the existing private road, known as Foster Street Southwest. And 3, a provision in the final resolution for continuation of the Rochester Water Association easement in addition to the standard easement reservation. This road vacation is in alignment with the county strategic plan initiative number 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community.
Thank you, Craig. Any questions on that item, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
I would move to approve a resolution vacating various portions of rights-of-way in the plats of Railroad Addition to Rochester and James replat, subject to conditions as outlined in the hearings examiner's recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nope, then I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Craig. Item 7, resolution for COVID-19 vaccine requirements for county employees. This is under county manager section, so I'll let the county manager give an introduction to what I'm sure we're all somewhat familiar with at this point.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. As a matter of background, on January 31st, 2020, the United States Department of Health and Human Services Secretary declared a public health emergency for COVID-19 beginning on January 27, 2020, included a subsequent extension since then. On February 29, 2020, the governor of the state of Washington adopted Proclamation 20-05 and subsequent amendments in proclaiming that a state of emergency exists in all counties in the state of Washington because of the COVID-19 pandemic. On March 12, 2020, the Board of County Commissioners adopted a resolution proclaiming that the state of emergency within Thurston County due to the COVID-19 emergency, and adopted subsequent resolutions extending the emergency until October 31st, 2021. On December 14, 2020, the Federal Drug Administration, FDA, and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, issued an emergency use authorization for the use of the PfiZer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine and subsequent authorizations for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are effective in reducing infection and serious disease widespread vaccination as a primary means to protect the community. On July 6, 2021, the Office of Legal Counsel of the United States Department of Justice issued a legal opinion stating that federal and state governments were not prohibited by federal law from imposing vaccination mandates, even when the only vaccines are available are those authorized under the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Emergency Use Authorization. The recent Delta variant is having a negative impact on COVID-19 infections, not just on the county, but the state, the country, and perhaps the world. The State Department of Health defines low disease activity by having 25 cases per 100,000 population in the prior 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, as of August 16, 2021, in Thurston County, we have had 360 cases per 100,000 population, which is considered high disease activity, with a positivity rate of 13.4%, which is the highest since the beginning of the pandemic. And those numbers, again, are from August 16, 2021, as stated in the proposed resolution. And you heard those numbers keep increasing based on the feedback and update from Public Health this morning. As of August 11th, 2021, the vaccination rate in Thurston County is 50.6% of the overall population, and 53.3% haven't initiated at least one dose. And I guess those numbers are increasing, but not to the level that we need to be to reach community health. It is imperative to keep and maintain a healthy county workforce to continue to provide services to the residents of Thurston County. This particular resolution before you states that all county employees shall be fully vaccinated by October 31st, 2021, or in lieu of vaccination, will be required to submit a negative COVID-19 test results every week after October 31st, 2021. In this resolution, you as the county manager to prepare a temporary policy to outline the procedures as to how the testing requirements should be conducted. Also, this resolution authorized the county to begin bargaining conversations with the unions that we have here in the county. And this resolution will, proposed resolution will take effect immediately and will be rescinded up to further action by the Board of County Commissioners. And available to answer any questions.
Questions about the elements, Commissioner Mejia,
I do not have questions at this time.
Commissioner Edwards.
I don't think I have questions. I have comments and at the appropriate time.
Okay, if there's a motion, then we can have discussion at that point. Is there a motion regarding this proposed resolution?
Yes, I would move to approve a resolution requiring the COVID-19 vaccination for Thurston County employees.
I'll second that motion. So it's been moved and seconded, and we can have discussion on the motion. Commissioner Edwards, you have something?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The state of Washington keeps a website, and it was new to me until about a week ago, and it's called Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting Systems, AVERS. And it keeps track of all the adverse reactions to the immunizations that are given in regard to COVID-19. There's over 30,000 adverse reactions reported and over 120 deaths. And although the percentages might be low, I really do think it is of adequate concern that we should be very cautious about imposing, forcing, coercing county employees to take a vaccination as part of their employment without any guarantee that if they have an adverse outcome to this vaccination, there's no guarantee they're going to be covered or protected, or their families. So I think this whole resolution is premature without adequate bargaining with the represented unions here at the county level. So that is my concern, that we should always be looking out for the best interest of our county employees, along with the citizens. And I might note that I'm a vaccinated person myself, my wife and I, and we thought it was the right thing to do. And I think for others, it would be the right thing to do if it matches their situation, whatever that situation is. But the main thing I am really concerned about is this lack of adequate protection for our employees should we put them through this. One other thing, I know we've got a little better protection in here, so they have an option to be tested, but there's nothing in here that says who's going to pay for the testing. And I can just envision, the bureaucratic process. Well, let's make it a little more difficult on the employees, so we'll make them pay for the test. That is yet to be bargained. But unfortunately, it's a reality that they might have to deal with. So because of that, and just the mere fact that I think it's premature, I have concerns. Thank you.
Commissioner Mejia, anything?
Yes, I do have comments. But first, I would like to address the vaccine adverse reactions of 30,000 affected and 120 deaths. Those are for all vaccines. That's not for the COVID-19 vaccine. So I just wanted to clarify that point specifically. Now, I want to touch on another point on the best interest of county employees. This is why we're doing it. Because I've received comments from people who are scared to come back to work, who are going to continue teleworking because they do not feel safe at work. That is our responsibility as commissioners to make sure that people feel safe coming to work. Now, on who is going to pay for the test, I mean, right now, taxpayers are paying for the increased backlog of cases. They're paying for overtime every time someone gets COVID at the jail, and other corrections officers have to cover for this. At this point, we have around 30 people who have been sitting in jail over 365 days. That adds up quick. Our COVID backlog is immense, and every time the jail gets locked down, it's even worse. Those numbers add up quickly. We are in a pandemic right now, and I am looking out. I'm seeing this for the safety of my children, of everyone's children, of anyone who walks in this building feels safe. Now, some might not take this seriously, but I had a family member who passed away because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we are right now at a crossroads, and there's just too much at risk, and this is why I support it.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Could I make another comment, please?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I sympathize with my seatmate's position, but I do have to say that this report that I received lists solely COVID-19 vaccines. On all of the reports that I received, although this same organization does keep other vaccine reports. So I just want to point that out. So,
okay.
And I respect my seatmate's position on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a difficult issue. I mean, in a sense, I mean, no one relishes having to pass something like this. I would have thought COVID-19 would have been behind us with a tool at hand to manage it that I don't think we're adequately taking advantage of as a community. I've been in favor of this measure, but I will say it's reassuring to hear the community support loud and clear today at the public comment period. We have a deteriorating situation with COVID-19. I don't have the graph to hold up to the screen, but it is worse than it's been at any point during the pandemic by a factor of 2. The highest number we had back during last year's lockdown, I believe, was just under 400, and now we're at 7. You know, at certain point, cases in a week. That came down just a little in this last week, but if you see the bar graph, it's pretty dramatic. And the hospital situation is stressed, and that's what's got me most stressed out. And school's about to re-engage with certain levels of children who can't be vaccinated. So with all of those things being true and having a tool at hand to help manage, I believe that this is the responsible measure. Some of the public comments I thought were really insightful about the special role that public servants have in dealing with the public, that it's similar to other historic vaccine and public health requirements that we've seen in our society for school and employment. Those are all valid points as well. But basically, it's a deteriorating situation, and we have a tool in hand, and we need to use that tool more effectively. And so I do support this. And if there's no other comments, we can go to the vote. Does anybody have any other additional comment or debate or?
No,
nope,
sir.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. That motion carries 2-1. Thank you to the public for tuning in and showing interest in this. Item 7B is the commissioners reporting on work sessions, assigned committee meetings, community events. Commissioner Mejia, start with you.
I know we have a public hearing coming up, so I'm happy to report on my committee items on Thursday.
Okay, Commissioner Edwards.
Just the virus and everything surrounding the virus, and a fire commissioners meeting and an EMS meeting, and but nothing pressing on any of those. Thank you.
Okay. Had a chance to attend the Interfaith Works Garden Party last week, and they gave a lot of thank yous to the county for the support that we've provided to housing projects and that they've been, Interfaith Works has been involved in, and they had a bunch of community hero awards that they gave out. So that was great to see. Steady meeting on Friday, that's the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. 3 cities meeting in midday. We handled a lot of topics. I was almost joking at how many, we had like 11 extremely weighty topics that we tried to cover in an hour. We did the best we could. We're talking about RVs, and Ensign Road, the potential for a home fund for the county, just all sorts of issues that are being discussed, trying to coordinate amongst the jurisdictions. Friday night, I had a chance to tour the James Farm down in Rochester, which is one of the Conservation Futures projects funded by the board last year. And that's interesting. I can talk more about that at a future meeting. And then Commissioner Mejia and I had a chance to attend the family reunification event today for the Family Education Support Services, celebrating families that were able to get through a difficult court system at times and reunify their families and stepping up for their kids. So that was really, really great to see. So with that, we'll go to item 7C. The county manager will review our combined schedule for the upcoming week.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Let me walk you briefly to your upcoming schedule for the next week, where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. As soon as you're done with this meeting, you have a public hearing related to imposing vehicular weight restrictions and a couple of bridges in the county. Tomorrow, you have an executive session related to law enforcement legislation, and you will have the opportunity to have a conversation with the Sheriff's Office on that. Thursday, August 26th, at 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the general liability, property, and cyber insurance policy renewal information. And at 10 in the morning, August 26th, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and an agenda will be posted 24 hours in advance. On Saturday, August 28th, you have been invited to participate on the Yelm Prairie Days, located in Yelm, Washington, as well as the Rainier Roundup Days Parade, located in this town of Rainier. On Monday, August 30th, at noon, you have your standing Washington State Association of Counties virtual assembly. And at 3 in the afternoon, you are invited to participate on a training related to naloxone administration, and that will be provided by Public Health and Social Services. And you will convene back again here on August 31st on Tuesday, 9 in the morning, where you will be working on your agenda setting for that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Hearing nothing, we are adjourned. We'll reconvene for a public hearing and we'll take about 5 or 6 minutes and to do restroom or whatnot, and then we'll convene for the public hearing on vehicle weight restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you.